It started on a Sunday afternoon, 3 months before the wedding. I was sitting in my apartment in Chicago, scrolling through social media when I saw a post from my cousin Emily, standing in front of a rustic barn surrounded by fairy lights, captioned, "Can't wait to marry the love of my life this fall." I smiled and hit like. Emily and I had grown up like sisters. I was the one who helped her pick her first prom dress, the one who listened when her parents didn't. So I assumed, of course, I'd be part of her big day. A week later, my mother called. "Sweetheart," she began cautiously, "there's something you should know." I already felt my stomach drop. They've decided to keep the guest list small. You know, close family only. "Mum," I said, confused, "I am close family." There was silence on the line. Then, she sighed. "Your aunt thinks it might be better if you sat this one out." "Why?" "Because," she said softly, "you tend to make things emotional. You know how you are." I almost laughed. Emotional? The last time we were all together, I cried at Grandpa's funeral and, apparently, that was too much for them. They'd started calling me theatrical Tessa behind my back, as if feeling something was a crime. Still, I tried to keep calm. "So I'm not invited to my cousin's wedding." "It's nothing personal," Mum said. "They just don't want any scenes." Scenes. That word burned like acid. 2 weeks later, the invitations went out handwritten, gold-trimmed, delivered in thick cream envelopes. I didn't get one, but everyone else in the family did. Even distant relatives I hadn't heard from in years were posting about it online. And that's when the photos started. Emily trying on dresses, bridesmaids laughing. Rehearsal dinner plans. I wasn't in a single picture, not one. I stared at the screen until my vision blurred. They'd erased me like that. But they had no idea what I'd been working on since that call, because if they thought I'd just disappear quietly, they were wrong. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and write in the comments about which country you're watching this video from. Enjoy the story. They wanted to call me dramatic. They were about to find out what real drama looked like. I didn't cry. Not this time. I just stared at those wedding photos, the comments, the hashtags, the smiles, and felt something inside me harden. If they thought I'd stay silent while they cut me out, they didn't know me at all. For weeks, I kept my distance. No calls, no texts. I let them believe I was sulking somewhere, too emotional to handle it. That's what they always said, anyway. Tessa can't let things go. Tessa makes everything about herself. They were right about one thing: I was making this about myself, but not the way they imagined. I started gathering things quietly. Little details. Emily's wedding website, password protected, but easy to guess. Her dog's name, followed by the wedding date. Inside, I found everything. The venue, the seating chart, the playlist, even the guest list. My name wasn't there, but my brother's was. So was my ex-boyfriend's, apparently still friends with Emily's fiancé. That stung more than I'd admit. But pain can be useful when you know how to use it. I printed everything out, pages and pages of smiling faces and perfect plans. Then I started working. I'm a video editor. It's what I do for a living: highlight reels, wedding films, promo clips. I knew every trick to make something look real, or make something look wrong. And when I found out they'd hired a videography company I'd worked with before, the plan came together naturally. A week before the wedding, I called an old coworker, Jake. He owed me a favor. I told him I wanted to send Emily a surprise family montage to play at the rehearsal dinner. A gift, I said, from someone who loved her. He didn't ask questions. He trusted me, so I began editing smiling childhood photos of Emily and me. Family Christmases, birthdays. Then I added small, almost invisible cuts, flashes of things no one would notice until it was too late. Words hidden in frames, faces flickering, distorted, and at the very end, one final message that would freeze everyone who saw it. I watched the finished video play through once, twice, 3 times. It was perfect. Beautiful, haunting, emotional, everything they said I was. The day before the wedding, I sent it off with a short message. For Emily, from family. That night my phone buzzed. It was my mother. "Tessa," she said, voice trembling. "What did you send them?" My heart skipped. "Why?" "Because," she whispered, "your aunt just called sobbing. Something's wrong with the video." I smiled faintly. "Good," I said. "That means they watched it." But I hadn't even told her the best part yet. The real surprise wasn't in the video. It was what would happen after it ended. The wedding day arrived bright and sunny. Exactly the kind of day Emily had dreamed of. The venue was a vineyard 2 hours outside Chicago, surrounded by rolling hills and rows of green vines that looked like they'd been painted. Just for her big moment, everyone was there: my mother, my aunts, my brother, even cousins I hadn't seen in years. Everyone except me, or so they thought. That morning, I parked my car half a mile down the road and walked the rest of the way, staying behind the rows of trees. I wore black jeans, a gray hoodie, and sunglasses. I didn't need to be seen. I just needed to be there. From where I stood, I could see the white tent, the flower arch, and rows of guests in pastel colors. I spotted my mother, immediately nervous, adjusting her pearls. Mark, my brother, laughed too loudly at something near the open bar. And then Emily walked out of the bridal suite in a laced gown that shimmered in the light. She looked perfect. For a second, I felt that old warmth. The cousin I grew up with. The girl who used to sneak out with me to midnight diners and talk about running away to California. But then I remembered, she was also the one who'd signed her name on that guest list and left mine blank, as the ceremony began. I slipped around the back, toward the reception tent. Through a side window, I could see the screens being tested for the slideshow, the one that would play during dinner. My gift. I watched the guests laugh, sip champagne, and dance as golden lights spilled across the vineyard. They had no idea what was coming. At exactly 7:42 p.m., the lights dimmed. The soft piano music started, and the screen flickered to life. The crowd went silent. The video opened with gentle childhood photos, me and Emily, in matching dresses, blowing out birthday candles. People smiled, clapped quietly. Then came the family gatherings, the lake trips, the old home videos, and then, the first hidden message appeared. A single frame, less than a second long, of text flashing across the screen. Family is supposed to mean love, not control. No one noticed at first, but then another appeared. You erased me, but I'm still here. Whispers started spreading through the crowd. The music slowed, deepened. The laughter turned into uneasy silence. Then, the final image appeared: me and Emily as little girls, arms wrapped around each other. Underneath, in white letters, "Congratulations, Emily. I hope this wedding brings you the peace you took from me." The room froze. Emily stood up so fast her chair fell over. My mother covered her mouth. The screen faded to black. And just before the lights came back on, a phone began to ring. Emily's fiancé reached into his pocket, glanced at the screen, and his smile vanished. Because the call wasn't from a guest or a vendor. It was from me. He stared at his phone like it had just started ticking. Guests shifted in their seats, unsure whether to laugh or whisper. The screen behind them was still black, reflecting their confused faces. Emily's fiancé looked pale as he slowly answered. "Hello," he said cautiously. My voice came through the speaker, calm and steady. "Nice party," I said. "Everyone looks beautiful." There was silence. You could have heard a pin drop. Ryan's eyes darted around the tent. "Tessa," he said quietly, trying not to draw attention. "Where are you?" I smiled to myself. "Oh, I'm close. Closer than you think." Emily snatched the phone from him. "Tessa, what the hell is this? What are you doing?" "Just saying congratulations," I said. "You didn't send an invite, so I had to make my own entrance." "You ruined our wedding video," she shouted, her voice cracking. "No," I corrected softly. I made sure it told the truth. I could hear chairs scraping, murmurs growing louder. My mother's voice cut through them, all sharp, panicked. "Tessa, if you're here, stop this nonsense right now." But I didn't stop. "Do you remember the night after Grandpa's funeral?" I asked. When you told everyone I made it about myself because I cried too much. Or when Aunt May told me to get over it because sadness made people uncomfortable. No one answered. Turns out, I continued, you only want people around when they smile, when they fit the picture. That's all this family ever wanted, a perfect frame. But I'm the crack you keep trying to hide. Emily's breathing was fast now, her voice trembling. You don't understand. Oh, I understand completely, I said. And you're right, I am dramatic. That's why I made sure everyone got a copy of that video tonight, including your sponsors, your boss, and every guest who tagged your wedding online. By morning, it'll be trending. Ryan swore under his breath. You can't do that. Oh, I already did. Through the phone, I heard movement, footsteps, shouts, someone fumbling to turn off the speakers. I could almost see them tearing through the reception tent, trying to keep the day from collapsing. I walked closer to the vineyard, watching from the edge of the trees. The fairy lights glowed gold against the night sky. Guests were spilling out, confused, whispering. Emily was crying now, mascara streaking her face as Ryan held her shoulders. But I wasn't smiling anymore, because as much as they deserved the chaos, I hadn't done this for revenge. I'd done it for something else, something I hadn't told anyone. The last line of that video, the one that said, I hope this wedding brings you peace. There was more, something they hadn't seen yet, a final scene that would play in 1 hour exactly, timed perfectly in the online version, and when it did, the truth about my family wasn't the only secret that would come out. By the time the sun dipped below the vineyard, the wedding had completely fallen apart. Guests were leaving early, whispering behind their hands. The music had stopped. The fairy lights flickered like they were embarrassed to still be on. I watched from a distance. Leaning against a tree, my hood pulled low. The air smelled like spilled champagne and wilted roses. Then my phone buzzed. A notification. Video upload complete. It was time. I'd scheduled the full version of the video, the real version, to post online exactly 1 hour after the reception began. The same montage everyone had seen earlier, but with the ending restored. I opened the video on my phone and watched the final scene. It started where the wedding version had cut off me and Emily hugging as little girls, laughing in the backyard. Then, a fade to black. After a few seconds, text appeared. The truth isn't dramatic. It's just inconvenient. Then came the footage, old clips from family holidays, arguments caught in the background, my aunt shouting that I was embarrassing for crying, my mother telling me to keep it together at my father's funeral, Emily laughing behind me, whispering to Ryan, see what I mean? She loves attention. I hadn't planned to release that at first, but after they erased me, after they made me feel like my grief was shameful, I realized people deserved to see the version of me they'd hidden. I watched the comments roll in within minutes. This is heartbreaking. How can family be this cruel? She didn't ruin the wedding. She exposed the truth. The video spread faster than I expected. By midnight, it had thousands of views. By morning, tens of thousands. I turned off my phone and looked toward the vineyard one last time. The tent was dark now. The party was over. When I finally walked back to my car, my mother was waiting beside it. Her face was pale, her makeup streaked. Tessa, she said softly, what have you done? I looked at her. The woman who'd spent years teaching me to hide my feelings. I told the truth. I said simply, you just didn't like how it sounded. Tessa, you've humiliated us. No, I whispered. You did that yourselves. She didn't reply. She just turned away, her shoulders shaking, not with anger, but something else. Maybe shame, maybe realization. As I drove away, I rolled down the window and let the cool air rush in. For the first time in years, I felt light, free. They called me too dramatic because I felt things deeply, because I refused to pretend everything was fine. But maybe that's what they needed all along, a little drama to finally face the truth. When I got home, I watched the last few seconds of the video again. The screen faded to a photo of me and Emily as kids, smiling. Under it, the final line appeared, family doesn't break you. It reveals who already wanted to. I closed my laptop and whispered to the empty room. They wanted a perfect wedding. I gave them a perfect ending.